The blessing that is meant for you is not a random event, not an accident of the heavens or a stroke of cosmic luck. It is deliberate, timed, and targeted. A message with your name on it, sealed in the divine post long before you knew you had need of it. But the moment such a blessing begins to near your soul, another movement stirs in the unseen. Just as the gardener knows to expect weeds as soon as the seeds are planted, you must understand that with every heavenly promise, there comes a corresponding attempt to steal it. Not in the open, where you might fight it with righteous defiance, but in secret, in silence, through the quiet deception that makes you doubt you were ever meant to receive it. Here is a terrible truth, and a comforting one. You are not imagining the resistance. That subtle fear, that lingering uncertainty, that delay you cannot name, it is real. There is an adversary who does not attack blessings at random. He targets them with precision. He calculates your moment of hope, your window of joy, and aims to arrive just early enough to close the gate before you step through it. It is not always a storm. Sometimes it is simply a suggestion that you are too late, too flawed, too unworthy. The blessing is descending, yes, but the saboteur has set traps in your mind long before it reached your doorstep. What you must realize is that this is the rhythm of the eternal drama. Light is not absent because shadow has arrived. Rather, it is proof of it. When you begin to feel a strange pressure, a quiet oppression, a weariness that attaches itself to your once vibrant expectations, that is not the end. It is the signal. You are close. The blessing is within reach, but so is the thief. And here is where many fall, not because they do not desire the gift, but because they do not discern the warfare surrounding it. They think perhaps they heard wrong. Perhaps the promise was not real. Perhaps they must wait another year, another season, another sign. But the one who waits indefinitely out of fear of error will eventually wait forever. The enemy is not always trying to destroy you with violence. He simply wants to delay you long enough that you forfeit the blessing by choosing to stand still. You must walk on, even when the light dims and your confidence falters. The blessing has already been released. You are not waiting for God to act. He already has. Now, heaven waits on your movement, your trust, your refusal to be tricked by the suggestion that your season has passed. If you let hesitation rule the moment, the adversary will not need to steal your blessing. You will have unknowingly handed it to him. The sacred is always pursued by the profane. And the higher the value, the subtler the theft. But here, in this trial, you are not alone. The battle you feel is proof that you carry something worth fighting for. And if there is resistance, then there is also a door. Push it, move forward. Don't let the whisper convince you it is not yours. It is. And remember, delay is not the will of God. It is the will of the one who knows you are almost there. The chosen are not known by their comfort, but by their crucibles. If you find yourself pressed on every side, not by the hands of visible enemies, but by the invisible weight of confusion, fatigue, and silent opposition, you are not abandoned. You are identified. For the soul marked for blessing often finds itself mistaken for one marked for punishment, when in fact it is undergoing the preparation reserved for those who will carry great things. Heaven does not entrust precious gifts to those who have never been tested. Fire does not destroy gold, it reveals it. And so if the heat has increased, it is because what is within you is finally being exposed, refined, and drawn to the surface. You are not being punished, you are being proven. There is no crown without a cross, no glory without grief, no authority without affliction. This is not the failure of your path. This is the path. God has not forgotten you. In fact, his silence is often the seal of trust. When the teacher is quiet, it is not because he has abandoned the student, it is because the test is in session. And what a test it is! You are being asked to hold fast when nothing is making sense, to keep walking when the road has disappeared beneath your feet, to believe when belief itself has become a burden. But that is precisely the evidence that you are chosen. Ordinary souls are not asked to carry such things. Understand this: the weight you feel is not random. It is perfectly matched to your calling. The delay, the struggle, the unrelenting series of almosts, these are the enemy's attempts to wear you down before you reach what was always yours. And in these moments of exhaustion, the temptation is strong to question everything: your identity, your promise, even your sanity. That is his goal. He does not need to destroy you. He only needs you to give up on yourself. But if you can hold the line just a little longer, what you will find is that the pain was not permanent. It was a passage, and it led you straight into the place your soul has always been shaped for. Yet, in this shaping, something else happens, something holy and deeply personal. Just as you are being prepared, so too is the one who will walk with you. Not all guidance is divine, but there are some people who arrive in your life not by accident, not by chance, but by assignment. They are not always what you expected, and they rarely appear wrapped in the perfection your imagination demands. Instead, they show up flawed but forged. They carry history, not to haunt, but to help. Their scars are not for shame. They are signs that they have fought battles like yours and survived. You will recognize them not by their charm, but by their clarity, not by the way they look, but by the way they make you feel seen. This person, your guide and your partner, is not your rescue. They are your reminder. Their words will resonate like echoes from the future. Their presence will not solve all your problems, but it will realign your soul with the promise. You will not need to force connection. It will feel like remembering something you've never known. And though the enemy may try to cast doubt on their significance, you will know, not because they are perfect, but because they carry the same fire, the same ache, the same vision. They are not sent to complete you, but to walk with you into the part of your destiny that cannot be fulfilled alone. So when they come, welcome them. And when the storm rages, remember, you were not chosen to be destroyed. You were chosen to overcome. Help often arrives in a whisper, not a roar. It enters your life not with flashing lights or triumphant music, but through a conversation, a coincidence, a face that seems familiar though you've never seen it before. The one sent to walk with you? This guide, this partner, will not appear in grandeur, but with quiet authority. They are not here to impress you, but to align with you. They do not come to fix everything. They come because God, in His wisdom, never sends blessings without sending someone to help carry them. And because the blessing you are called to carry is great, the one sent to walk beside you is not ordinary. But here is the truth many overlook. The person God sends may not meet the list you have kept in your head for years. They might challenge you before they comfort you. They might provoke something in you that you've long buried, your calling, your conviction, your courage. And at first you may resist them, not because they are wrong, but because they stir something ancient and divine inside of you that frightens the part of you that has grown too accustomed to hiding. That is the mark of their assignment. They remind you who you are. This person does not always speak with eloquence, but when they do speak, your spirit listens. They are often overlooked by others because their beauty is not skin deep, it's soul deep. Their strength does not come from charisma, but from the things they've endured. They carry the evidence of survival, not just physically, but spiritually. You will know them not just by their presence, but by the peace that follows them. They will not seek to control your journey, only to walk beside it, holding the line when your hands grow weak. They are a lighthouse, not a lifeboat, guiding, not rescuing. Yet the tragedy is that sometimes we miss them, not because they were unclear, but because we were. We were too distracted by what we expected to see, too wounded by past betrayals to trust again, or too entangled in counterfeit connections that dulled our discernment. The enemy knows he cannot cancel what God has ordained, so he sends counterfeits ahead of the real thing, just enough to make you question the truth when it finally arrives. That is why you must stay close to your spirit, not your assumptions, your partner, your guide, the one sent by God. They will not match your fantasy, but they will match your purpose. And when you recognize them, you must be bold enough to choose them. There is no time for delay, for heaven's clock does not wait on indecision. The enemy wants you frozen, doubting, overly cautious, but the blessing you are about to receive requires partnership, not the kind built on convenience or superficial attraction, but one rooted in destiny. You will build things with this person. You will break chains with them. You will pray, war, laugh, and weep with them. Together you will be stronger than you ever were alone. And that is why opposition surrounds this union, not because it is wrong, but because it is so right, so dangerous to the enemy's plans, that it must be stopped before it even begins. But you, chosen one, must decide. You must move when the Spirit nudges. You must let go of false alliances, of distractions and doubts, and make room for what has been divinely orchestrated. The person God sends is not just a blessing, they are a bridge to your next level, your next victory, your deeper walk with God. Do not miss them. Do not let fear steal what took heaven years to prepare, because when the right one comes, your soul will remember what your mind cannot explain. And that moment is your invitation to step into the fullness of what you were always meant to be. Many think the greatest threat to a blessing is destruction, but it is not. The true threat is delay, subtle, quiet, and often self-inflicted. The adversary knows that he cannot steal what God has declared, but if he can distract you, confuse you, or convince you to wait a little longer, he doesn't have to steal it at all. You will leave it behind yourself. This is how many chosen ones miss the very thing they prayed for. By hesitating at the door they begged God to open. They wait for a confirmation that was already given. They ask for a sign when the road is already marked. And while they wait, the window narrows. The urgency fades, and the blessing passes, like a ship in the night. The enemy does not always roar. Sometimes he simply suggests, "Not now. You're not ready. Maybe this isn't it." And if you are not deeply anchored in what God already whispered to your soul, you will believe the echo of fear instead of the voice of purpose. Delay becomes disobedience disguised as caution. It feels responsible, even spiritual, but underneath it is hesitation born not of discernment, but of fear. And while you stall, the blessing waits, until, eventually, it doesn't. This is why decision is your weapon. The moment to move rarely feels perfect. The clouds do not always part. The signs are not always obvious. But your spirit knows. That inner nudge, that quiet clarity, that is your cue. Do not ask for thunder when God has already sent the still, small voice. Do not wait for certainty when faith was always meant to fill the gaps. If you know you must act, Obedience opens what intellect cannot. Your courage is not in feeling brave. It is in obeying while afraid. Heaven is not waiting on your perfection. It is waiting on your movement, because what God has prepared for you requires presence. Not just your willingness to receive, but your readiness to respond. He has already released the blessing. It is not coming, it is here, but now it requires a partnership, a choice, an alignment, a step. That step may be leaving behind something comfortable. It may be saying yes when your mind is still full of questions. But your trust cannot be partial. This is the hour where full surrender is the only currency. And the longer you hesitate, the more you empower the very forces sent to stop you. Understand, the enemy cannot cancel what God has set in motion, but he can confuse the one called to walk it out. He plays in the shadows of your uncertainty, whispering doubt, fanning insecurity, pointing to your past. He wants you so focused on what disqualifies you that you forget what has already been declared over you. But you are not chosen because you are flawless. You are chosen because you are available, because somewhere inside you, despite the fear and the fight, is a yes. And that yes is more powerful than you know. Do not let delay be your downfall. The blessing has already left heaven's hands. It is moving toward you with intention. But you must meet it with movement, not when you feel ready, when you are called. And that call has already gone out. This moment is not about preparing, it is about proceeding. This is not the rehearsal, it is the release. Move, chosen one, move, not because everything makes sense, but because everything depends on it. There is a war surrounding the blessing prepared for you. But it is not a war of swords or noise. It is a war of silence, distraction, and delay. The blessing has already been released, set in motion by divine command. But between the release and the reception is a space where your faith must rise. In that space, the enemy does not need to destroy the blessing. He only needs to make you doubt it. If he can whisper long enough to convince you that you're not worthy, that it's too late, that you missed it, then you will step away from the door just before it opens. And this is his strategy, not to crash into your life loudly, but to quietly sow thoughts that make you abandon what was meant for you. This resistance you feel is not coincidence, it is confirmation. Darkness does not oppose what is empty. It rises against what is dangerous to its rule. If you feel targeted, delayed, or disoriented, it is not because you've lost your way. It's because you're nearing something precious. This pressure is not punishment. It's a signpost. When a thief breaks in, it is never to steal from an empty house. The enemy knows what you carry, and even more, what your obedience will unlock. So he comes quietly, often using familiar voices, old insecurities, and subtle suggestions to delay what he cannot destroy. He knows that if he can keep you hesitating, he can keep the door shut just long enough for the moment to pass. But this is not just about the blessing. It is about who is sent to walk with you through it. For no great mission is fulfilled alone. When God sends a blessing, he often sends a person with it, not to carry you, but to walk beside you. This guide, this partner, is chosen not from your list of desires, but from God's knowledge of your calling. They are not sent to make your journey easier, but to make it possible. Their voice will align with God's voice. Their presence will bring clarity, not confusion. And while the enemy tries to send counterfeits, before the real one arrives, your spirit will know the difference. Not because they are perfect, but because they bear the same fire you've been carrying alone. Recognizing them is only the first part. The greater challenge is choosing them. Because divine partnerships are not always wrapped in the beauty the world demands, They may come with wounds, with stories, with imperfections, but also with wisdom, strength, and a supernatural alignment that cannot be explained. You will not be drawn to them because they complete you, but because they challenge you, call you higher, and stand with you when others fade. They are not a rescue, they are a reminder of what God said when you almost forgot. To accept them is to accept help. To walk with them is to walk with purpose. And yet, fear will tell you to push them away, to question the timing, to wait just a little longer. That delay, again, is the trap. Because in all of this, your greatest weapon is not might or intellect, it is decision. Heaven has moved. Now it waits for you. This moment is not about more signs or more confirmations. It's about obedience in the absence of full understanding. It's about saying yes when fear screams no. You have not been left behind. You are standing in front of something ancient and divine, something that cost heaven more than you know. And the blessing, the guide, the partner, they are all aligned, all moving toward you. But the final step cannot be forced. It must be taken by faith. Move, not because everything is clear, but because you were never meant to stay still. The blessing is here. The warfare is real. The partner is near. And your moment, this moment, is sacred.